everybody, I'm Mango Thunderslice, and today we're talking about how real men don't play video games. And, you know, just taking the day and getting a bunch of stuff done around the house. Thought I'd take some time to make a video. You know, a commenter on one of our previous videos actually asked me to make this video, saying that her husband doesn't play with their children because he's too busy playing video games. And, you know, rather than give her a response to the comment, I basically, you know, I think this is a big topic. I don't think a lot of people think about it too much, but, you know, it's a big cultural issue, especially going forward with more and more young men pouring hours and hours, hundreds of hours into video games. You know, and there's a time and a place for that when that's appropriate, right? You know, real men don't play video games, but if you're a boy, right? If you're a boy, that's the time to play video games. When you're single and you're in school and you don't have any other majorly pressing obligations like children, right? That's the time to play video games. And, you know, I'm not you know, just some jock talking down on the nerds, right? I was a nerd. I still am a nerd by many metrics, right? I played tons of video games as a kid. A lot of strategy games, you know, some of the first-person shooter games. I really enjoyed the Halo series. Never really got too much into Call of Duty. It's just like too fast, too much chaos, too much carnage, and there are too many kids that just play that game for hundreds of hours, and I'm not very good at the game, I guess is what I'm saying. You know, and I do value the time that I spent playing video games when I was a kid. You know, especially when you're in school, you don't really have free will over your time and your time preferences so much, because you're forced into that artificial schedule and timeline of you got to finish school. Right, so in your off time, when you've already done your schoolwork and you don't feel like doing anything else, right, playing a video game is great, you know. And there are a lot of benefits studies show for certain types of video games for children. You know, helps with brain development, coordination, multitasking, you know, and all those things are valid. You know, I think also there's a big difference in the type of video games. I feel like the strategy games that I played were very, very stimulating. I feel like as I go through my day, my daily routine these days, you know, my ability to solve problems at work, you know, and multitask a bunch of different things, I feel like is a remnant of the skills that I acquired, you know, or at least honed while playing video games. And that's well and good, you know. But there's a certain point where once you're out of school, you're out of high school, you're out of college, right? Now you're in control of your own free time, right? You don't, there's no excuse, right? There's no like, oh, well, you know, I gotta do this and I'm just, you know, blowing off some steam in a video game. Once you've actually got, you know, once you've got your free time and you can do anything you want in the world, every hour you spend playing video games is completely wasted, okay? I mean, I get it, it's entertaining, you know, again, I play video games a lot myself, you know, but the older you get, you know, 20 to 25, okay, all right, play video games again, as long as you're single, you're not, you know, wasting your time that could be doing, you know, doing other productive things. But seriously, guys, when you get to like 30 years old, if you're over 30 and you're still playing video games, you're a loser, okay? I'm sorry, that's the truth. It's not my opinion, it's just a fact, right? You know, whether you're single or not, it's a waste of time and you're a loser, right? And I'm not trying to be mean for the sake of being mean. I'm trying to basically give advice to those, you know, this was a commenter who brought it up. If you have children and you are not spending time with them because you want to play a video game, I'm sorry, I have no respect for you. That is so sad and pathetic, right? Like, understand that the child is a sponge. Every minute you spend with them is just like means so much to them. And for you to sacrifice that and go and just play video games is so degenerate. That's the perfect word for it. It's degenerate, right? You know, there's breaking down the family in terms of, you know, welfare, incentivizing black men to leave the household and black women to have children out of wedlock as a single mom, right? There's that kind of destruction of the family. There's destruction of the family by treating, you know, a sodomite orgy as the same as a man and a woman married, you know. Those are all equal families in the cultural relative, you know, radical left, you know. There's destroying the family just by removing the family values and, you know, abortion and, you know, drugs and whatnot. But then there's destroying the family by just emasculating men and just making them so weak and so infantile in their psychology that they will never stand up for anything that matters. They are basically, you know, which is why women almost seem to like pick up the slack and like become more hyper-masculine in this culture. The men are becoming more emasculated and feminine. The women are becoming more masculine and aggressive, dominator type. And that's not the way things are supposed to be. Men are supposed to be the the one with ambition, the one going out and conquering, you know, the challenges of the day and making things happen, right? And this is, you know, it's a big journey that I've gone on. I'm not, again, just talking down as if I've got this, you know, supreme position and I didn't have to earn my way and fight my way to get here, right? I was addicted to comfort. 100% I was, you know, and I recognized it, especially when we were living in Reno, and, you know, it was a remnant of just my schooling years and coming up through, and I knew that I needed to get out and do more things and be more productive, but there was just this kind of like cycle of comfort where I just, you know, it was so hard to break that cycle, and I just kept finding myself looped into this comfort cycle and just playing video games and watching movies and hanging out. And, you know, granted, I was undergoing a lot of internal work. I was doing a lot of research about the world around me. I was learning a lot, internalizing a lot, coming to a lot of internal conclusions, which allowed me to go forward in life after that, knowing who I was, knowing what I valued, knowing about the world around me, and not have to, you know, just press forward in ignorance, not knowing what it is that I value or what's going on in this world. So I do value the time I spent doing those things and playing video games, you know. But it's funny, it was when Space Panther and I first got together, and I remember it was so distinct when it was Cinco de Mayo, I believe, 2014. I think that's like literally the last time I played a video game. Because I remember this was early in our relationship, and she came over and we were going to make guacamole and hang out and, you know, maybe drink some tequila. And earlier in the day I've been playing, I don't even know what it was, Star Wars Battlefront or Galaxy. It was one of the massive multiplayer online role-playing games that were in the Star Wars universe. And so in multiplayer games, right, for those of you who don't know, right, sometimes there'll be missions, and there's all these people, real people, playing live together on the game. And you'll go on missions together, and you kind of, you know, you're locked into that mission until you either die or you finish it, right? And so I'm playing this mission in this Star Wars multiplayer game, and, you know, Space Panther comes over, and so I'm just like, okay, you know, I'll be done in a second. I'm just playing this mission. I can't really quit right now. You know, just give me like a few minutes. And she's like, you know, okay, like, you know, not the sexiest thing to come into play an online Star Wars game, but, you know, she's like, okay, I can wait a few minutes. And, you know, the mission went a little longer than I expected, and I'm just like, I keep like, you know, playing and looking over, and she's just like staring at me like, really? You invited me, you have a girl in your house to hang out with who likes you, and you're sitting here playing video games. You're sitting here playing this Star Wars online game, and there's all these flashes and explosions, and she's just like, what is going on with this guy? So, you know, basically, eventually it came to the point where I was just like, I felt so ashamed just sitting there. You know, while Space Panther's just looking at me. And so I eventually just shut off the game. I didn't finish the mission. I was just like, okay, this is not cool. I gotta turn this off right now. And so I shut off the video game, and, you know, basically we hang out and, you know, smooth things over, and, you know, it was all fine. Obviously, you know, that wasn't the end of the relationship, you know. we moved forward from there, but one of the reasons that we did move forward from there was because that sense of shame that I felt playing that game and watching, you know, my girlfriend just looking at me like a loser, right? And you know, knowing in my heart that this is ridiculous. Why am I ignoring her? Why am I favoring this game and this person who I have no idea who they are? Is just a digital character, right? It's completely meaningless. It's at most marginally entertaining. Meanwhile, there's actual entertainment. There's a real person and real human connection here. And it just really clicked for me. Just like, this is not what I'm supposed to be doing now. It's like, you know, choose one, video games or having a girlfriend. And I said, okay, I'm not playing video games, right? And that's part of the natural development of a man in the 21st century, right? You gotta come to the point where you realize, no, your video games are not important, and what matters is finding that human connection, building your life, building your lifestyle, moving forward in your own adventure. And this is the thing, realizing that there's only one video game that you play at a certain point, and that's the video game of life. If you can learn properly from the video games that you did play, you'll realize that you can apply that same fun mentality, that, you know, leveling up, acquiring skills, going on quests and adventures, meeting new characters. Take that excited, you know, state of mind and apply that to your waking life, right? Go and treat this life like a video game. Treat your career like a video game, right? And it can be that fun, right? I don't have a spaceship, but I've got a car, and it can take me where I want to go, right? You know, I'm not collecting gold coins per se, but, you know, I go out and I complete quests at work, and I get money in return. And I can buy more than a digital sword, right? I can buy a real sword. I can, you know, live in a nice place. I can, you know, provide for, you know, Space Panther and Isla. And, you know, it's real. That's the point, is, you know, the sense of acquisition is rewarding, right? In the video game or in real life. The only difference is in real life it actually counts for something. In a video game, it counts for nothing. It feels like you're leveling up. It feels like you're gaining gold coins because, you know, it'll pop up on the screen, but it's fake. It's just tricking your brain into thinking you've done something productive. And in that sense, it's a drug, and that's why people do get addicted to video games, because it gives them a sense of completion, that dopamine hit of, yes, I'm done with that, you know, I completed this, right? But it's completely illusory. And so for a person who doesn't have that feeling of accomplishment in their waking life, in their real life, you know, the video game becomes a surrogate of, you know, my waking life sucks, but, you know, I can be this level 60 warrior or mage and go on these huge battle quests in these caves and stuff, you know. And again, feeding that imagination, training the brain to seek reward and to accomplish things, even in a mental, you know, video game sense. When you're young, when your brain is developing, that can be beneficial. Again, I'm not talking the right time to play video games is as a boy, but once you're a man, if you're playing video games, you're a loser. You're not actually a man, you're a man boy, right? And it's the man boys that are keeping society back at this point. It's the men that can't stand up for what matters. It's the men that won't protect their family. It's the men that won't even go out and create a family because they're too busy playing Call of Duty, right? And, you know, that's the genesis of this message, is I want people to become stronger. I want men to become more masculine, in the sense of having more willpower and, you know, the coherence of just their whole signal in life, right? There's a big thing going on this planet, and evil only persists because good men fail to act. And why do good men fail to act? Well, because they're playing freaking video games. And that's the reality. People, if we're going to change things here in this real video game, if we're going to win this quest, right, over the cabal and the forces of darkness, we need to get real about our own lives. And, you know, the best case is, seriously, after, you know, I'll bump it up a little bit, 26, 27, right? That's pretty much the threshold, right? If you're still playing any serious amount of video games after that point, whether you're single or not, you are literally wasting your life, and you are throwing it down the drain. And, you know, if otherwise your life totally sucks, then, again, I guess that makes sense in the short term. But here's the thing, if you were to wake up every day and just pour all that energy into your waking life, it wouldn't suck, okay? You can fix it. I don't care where you're at. I don't care if you're chained in a basement somewhere. Just, like, you know, chisel the chain and get out of there. Right? And of course, most people aren't in such dire circumstances. Their circumstances are fairly mild, and they're usually quite privileged. It's just this mental block of, you know, again, it's that addiction to comfort, that laziness that prevents people from doing things, right? So, you know, best case scenario, you're just wasting your life and missing out on all the really meaningful, valuable things in life, of the human connection, building a family, building a career, truly, truly gratifying things that are just being cast aside so that you can level up, right? And worst case scenario, you become a flat earther, right? You just completely lose connection to all sense of reality and logic, and you just believe that you're living inside of a computer simulation even when you stop playing video games and go outside. And, I guess I'm continually surprised that the flat earthers persist. You'd think that at a certain point when you realize that the stars rotate in the night sky around the South Pole as well as the North Pole, you'd realize that's physically impossible on a flat plane, and that, at very least it's geocentricity that you're arguing, because there's no way that a flat plane can exist with the star trails that we see in the sky rotating around 2 focal points. You don't need NASA to prove that we live on a round globe of some kind. Right? And then, of course, if you're going to say that it's geocentrism and the sun and the planets are all just going around in circles, right, and the stars are all actually moving around the Earth, well, go ahead. I mean, it's still ridiculous, but at least it jives with a little more of the evidence. But that's the thing is, there's there's an intelligence that all people used to have. They call it common sense, but it's not very common. And common sense is accrues from just a natural exposure to the real world, and just being out and seeing how things work, making things work, seeing how they don't work, how they break, right? That's what being a man is about, and being a boy, right? But really, though, you got to come to a singularity point where you realize that the comfort that you're addicted to is evil. It's poison. It will kill you. You need to conquer that if you want to move forward in life and become the hero of your own story, right? At a certain point, that's what it did for me when we left Reno in our adventure van, Beatrix, and realizing that there was no room for me to be lazy anymore. I had to wake up every day and make sure everything was in order. We didn't have that comfort to fall back upon. And after so many days waking up and just launching myself into that activity, into that productivity of moving the day forward, at a certain point it just became muscle memory. And now, even though, life is a little bit more comfortable now than when we were living in the van, I still have my brain trained in that circuit of get up, do things, go, 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 instead of that lazy voice that was like, we'll do it later, we'll just keep playing for now. Like, now I have the opposite of that. It's like, get up, go, make it happen, right? And that's what being a man is about, I realize. And the thought, now that I have a daughter, I literally have no time where I could conceivably even play video games. I get chastised enough just for being on my phone and responding to you guys with their YouTube comments, and so I try and limit that time, in and of itself as well. But the idea of me sacrificing all these beautiful moments holding Isla and just kind of communing with her and looking her in the eye, and she's looking me in the eye, I can tell her pineal gland is developing, her whole brain, she's learning and taking in all of these experiences. The idea of me sacrificing that to go play some gay video game is so lame and inconceivable. I feel shame even for the idea of doing that. I don't even know what video game I'd play. Maybe one of the real-time strategy games like Homeworld, again, still that strategic mindset I still find valuable today. I don't have any time to play the video games, but I still have that mindset. So if you're a young man, if you're a boy, you're in school, you got no girlfriend, and your job is fairly boring, right? Blow off some steam, play some video games, train the brain, it's totally fine, right? But once you're out of school, once you got an opportunity to really build a career and build, a relationship with somebody and like leading toward building a family, it's time to start getting real, right? Stop playing the video game, put down the controller, and that's the thing. I remember I used to get so mad playing video games. That was one of the biggest reasons why I also just had to stop myself, is I would just get so mad trying to make something happen on the screen and not being able to do it. Like, I just got enraged when I couldn't communicate my own will inside my brain into my hands and this controller into the screen. There's like all this disconnect. But when I'm in my waking life, right, my hands, I have perfect control over these. I have perfect control over my body. There's not that disconnect. So by default, I don't get angry when I'm doing things in my real life. I mean, sometimes something I'll try to do breaks or it doesn't work the way I want it and I get pissed off, but it's nowhere near the intensity of when a computer won't do what I want it to. You know, and so it's just psychologically healthy. It's not psychologically healthy to just spend any significant amount of time going into this digital world and shooting people and blowing them up and training your brain to like the destruction of the human frame, right? You know, again, a real-time strategy game, a little less gory and bloody than some of the first-person shooters, right? You don't want to train your brain so intensely in that hyper-aggression. You end up being that a vape store guy screeching at the Trump supporter, right? You end up one of those losers with a neck beard, right? But yeah, anyway, again, I'm not trying to make fun of people, but sometimes it's so hard. Yeah, train your brain in a healthy way, program your mind to achieve and to play the video game of life and to earn those real gold coins and to meet those real characters, right? The graphics out here are better than anything you'll ever find in a video game. The characters, almost all of them are conscious. Again, there's the NPCs, most of them vote Democrat and the rest of them think John McCain was an American hero. But, you know, it's, yeah, it's, life is so incredible, and the plot line, once you can really start to pick up on the details of this life and this world, is so incredible. Truth is stranger than fiction. And I implore you, if you are over 26 and you're playing video games, I would implore you to not play video games anymore. Now, there are a couple exceptions to this. After all, the #1 YouTuber, you know, is PewDiePie, who just plays video games. Like, he does other things, talks about things, and he's a funny guy. I respect PewDiePie. But, you know, he's got 78 million subscribers, and he basically started off just playing video games on his channel. So he has built a life for himself while playing video games. And I know in Korea and Japan and whatnot, it's like literally it's a sport, right? There are professional video game players, and there will be just, you know, thousands and thousands of kids watching these professional video game matches going on. And I'll say, those kids, if they're making good money and they're winning prizes by playing video games, okay, you know, it's you've built a life playing video games, and you know, you're not like 100% of a man, but you're at least like above the 80-90% threshold. You know, if you can actually make money playing video games, all right, that's one thing. But I'm gonna say that 99% of people who are playing video games ain't making a single dime from it. So, you know, I guess that's that. If you've got kids, you need to wake up, son. If any single moment you're playing video games and sacrificing time with your own child, you are committing a crime against yourself, against your child, against God and nature, right? And that's my message today, you know, helping people kind of just snap out of it a little bit, you know, whether you're young, build a good path. If you're older, hey, snap out of it, let's get back on the right track, you know. I'll be talking a little more about these cultural, you know, issues, but seriously, life is the video game. I wake up in the morning, I grab my weapon, I grab my gear, and I head out in my ship, and I fly out and I do missions, right? And that's my, you know, internal, you know, just kind of narrative that's going on. And life is fun to me as a result of that, right? And yeah, as far as build the weapon, I'm building an AR-15, and I'll be doing a video again about that here pretty shortly. But yeah, that's my video, just kind of rambling on. Stop playing video games and go enjoy the life that you're meant to, because that's truly the best story you're ever going to find. Anyway, that's my video today. Hope you guys are having a great week. I'll see you next time. Cheers.